Assalamualaikum and welcome for today FTT Facing the Truth news episode. It's 12 noon Saturday on 24 June 2023. I'm Zahratul Aida binti Muhammad Zaid, will be your newscaster today. Today's topic is urban poverty in Malaysia. Poverty is a state of deprivation in which an individual or a group lack access to basic needs and resources such as food, shelter, education and healthcare. Poverty can be absolute where individuals are unable to meet their basic needs, or relative where individuals have some access to basic needs but are still unable to meet the standard of their society. Urban poverty in Malaysia refers to the condition of individual or living in poverty within urban area of the country. While Malaysia has made significant progress in reducing overall poverty rates, urban poverty remains a persistent issue. There has been 100% increase in urbanization since 1970 until 2000 and has affected many low-income people who are living in big cities. In September 2021, Economic Affairs Minister Datuk Seri Mustafa Muhammad revealed that there are more people living in Malaysia city compared to rural areas. The urban poverty rates is higher than rural poverty by 45%. Next, Ahmad Shakir Amza will explain the issue of urban poverty in Malaysia.
So the first issue of the urban poverty in Malaysia is the COVID-19 outbreak. The pandemic has given a significant impact in the global economy as well as here in Malaysia. Because of the high number of cases in Malaysia, the government has taken measurements such as imposing a lockdown and also travel ban. So when this action has been taken by the government, the people living in the urban areas are struggling to go to work and some of them even lost their job. This has become a contributor to the urban poverty in Malaysia. The second issue in Malaysia is the migrant workers. As we all know, there are a lot of migrant workers in our country, Malaysia. Based on the Department of Statistics in 2022, there are more than 2.1 million migrant workers in our country. And with the increase of the migrant workers, it has affected the urban poverty by increasing the competition for low-income job. So our people with the lower education, they have to struggle and for a job and have to compete with the migrant workers because they can afford to work with lower wages. And then these migrant workers, they are living in a very bad and poor accommodation. That has impacted the area that they are working, especially in the urban area as well. And then the last one is that when they receive their payment of work, they often send back the money to their home countries. Because of this, they have decreased the overall circulation of money in the certain areas such as the urban area and has led to the urban poverty in that current area as well. The next issue is the lack of education. Education is very important in order to break the cycles of poverty that has been passed down for generations. Dr. Mazli Malik has stated that there are more than 1 million Malaysians who are not in school. Rapid urbanization and also economic growth has created a demand for a skilled worker. But however, without proper education, these individuals who are living in the urban areas are unable to participate and also meet the demands. In some urban areas, there are also face challenges to access for education, such as inadequate infrastructure, lack of overcrowded classroom and also lack of qualified teachers. The last one is the high cost of living. Living in the urban area is different from the rural area because the cost of living is higher. One of the effects is that they are unable to find affordable housing. The house is very expensive because of the rapid growth in terms of economics. And the second one is the basic necessities such as food, transportation, utilities are very expensive living in the urban areas. The third one is they might not have saving because most of the earnings that they have has been spent on the basic necessities and also housing. And then the last one is the people living in the urban areas will have higher debts because in order to survive, most of them have tendencies to make loans and struggle to make payments and could not cope with the cost of living in the urban area itself.
Thank you, Shaki. It is crucial to address this issue through comprehensive strategies that prioritize public health, human rights, equal access to education, and measures to alleviate the cost of living, fostering a more inclusive and sustainable society for all. Next, Azrina Alia will present to us the implication of urban poverty in Malaysia.
Urban poverty in Malaysia carries a multitude of implications that profoundly impact individuals, community, and the overall socio-economic fabric of the nation. First of all, substandard living conditions. Substandard living conditions are significant consequence of urban poverty in Malaysia. The many urban poor individuals and families live in substandard housing, including cramped apartment, informal settlements, or low-cost housing. These dwellings may lack basic amenities such as proper ventilation, adequate space, and sanitary facilities. The limited housing options contribute to overcrowding and unsanitary conditions, impacting health and overall well-being. Not only that, it might have insufficient infrastructure too, as urban poor communities often have limited access to basic infrastructure such as clean water, electricity, and proper waste management systems. Lack of clean water supply and unreliable electricity services can lead to health risks and disruptions in daily life. Insufficient waste management system result in the accumulation of garbage, creating unhygienic living environments. Other than that, education gaps. In the context of urban poverty, the education gap refers to the disparities in access to quality education and educational outcomes between the urban poor and their more privileged counterparts. Several factors that contribute to the education gap in urban poverty in Malaysia. Limited to access educational resources, urban poor communities often lack access to adequate educational resources, including well-equipped school, libraries, and educational materials. This shortage hampers the learning opportunities are available to students, limiting their academic growth. Besides that, unemployment and low-wage jobs. Limited economic opportunities, urban poverty often correlates with high unemployment rates and limited job opportunities. The lack of diverse industry and the concentrations of economic activities in specific areas contribute with the scarcity of employment option for the urban poor. This restricts their ability to secure stable and sustainable outcome sources. Underemployment often lead to lower wages, limited benefit, and reduced job security. The urban poor are also likely to be engaged in the informal sector, which lacks legal protections, social security, and stable income. Last but not least, social exclusion and crime rates. Urban poverty can contribute higher crime rates within marginalized communities. Desperation, inequality, and limited access to resources can fuel the prevalence to theft, drug-related offences, and other forms of crime. In addition, inadequate community support. Social exclusion affects the formulation of strong community ties and support networks. In marginalized urban areas, the absence of cohesive communities can lead to a lack of collective action, limited social cohesion, and reduced support for addressing common challenges and promoting community development.
Thank you, Azrina Alia. To tackle this challenge effective, collaborative efforts between governments, community, and relevant stakeholders are essential to create a more equitable and secure society for everyone. Next, Hasmira will tell us the recommendation and government action for urban poverty in Malaysia.
Recommendation and government action. Malaysia as developing country aware of the alarming levels of urban poverty call for prompt action. The problem is magnified and the government also agencies have been planning sustainable solution for development and decreasing urbanization poverty. Program Perumahan Rakyat (PPR), also known as People Housing Program, is an initiative by the Malaysian government to provide low-cost housing scheme for communities with a monthly income of 2,500 or less. This initiative helped the lower-income public to have better living in low-cost housing and live more comfortably. Unfortunately, this initiative has no longer provided for past 5 years. This initiative has been implemented greatly from 2006 until 2018. If this initiative can be implemented again, it will help many lower-income public, especially who are struggling to get better living in urban areas. In terms of education, educate and lift the level of education among the poor children in schools such as teach them business practice and can help they gain a higher income job and possibly run a company. Sponsorship for low-income households. This can cover various issues from the school environment to the access of the low income. Government schools also need to take place in giving the best possible to improve education, especially to low-income families. There is a need to relook at associated costs like parent-teachers association fees, book costs, and uniform costs. The Malaysian government has been committed to eradicating poverty through various pension policies, privatisation master plan, and new economic model (NEM 2010). Among important initiatives that contribute to the success of poverty reduction in Malaysia, such as IKASE system, One Azam program, FELDA, and the newest program launched are People Income Initiative, Inisiatif Pendapatan Rakyat. IPR is an initiative that involves the collaboration of the government and several strategic partners to increase the income of people living in hardcore poverty. Other than that, redistribution of income also recommended to increase consumer spending by taxing the rich progressively and providing subsidies to the poor people.
Thank you, Hasmira. Implementing this recommendation and taking decisive action, the government can effectively combat urban poverty in Malaysia, improve the well-being of its citizens, and foster a more inclusive and sustainable society. The poor should be empowered with entertainment in the form of sustainable solution to poverty and access to resource through a community-oriented strategy with a legal structure. Increased rent, transportation costs, housing costs, land and space costs, drug use, crime, and social issues are all consequences of excessive urban expansion. Government should not only give the solution but also act accordingly to the solution that have been proposed in order to decrease the number of urban poverty in the city. That's all from us, FTT News for today. Thank you and have a good day.